How would you feel if you booked tickets to fly across the country with your family, only to find that your 2.5-year-old might have to sit in a different row surrounded by strangers? That's the dilemma facing a Vancouver couple who've just learned Air Canada won't guarantee that they'll be able to sit next to their daughter on their flight to Toronto. Sarah is looking into this story for us. Sarah.
And this is 2.5-year-old Charlotte, such a cutie. Her parents, Carly and Matt Hartney, are going to take her to Toronto next month, and they had booked their tickets trying to be economical. They actually found the cheapest fares that they could, which were the Tango fare on Air Canada. So they booked those, and just to ensure that everything went smoothly, Carly went online and she paid that extra $40 for both her and her husband Matt to make sure that they had the window in the aisle, assuming that the airline would reasonably place their daughter, the 2.5-year-old, in between the two of them. Just to make sure that that was going to happen, she called the airline and then was told after 45 minutes on hold that in fact, no.
I was kind of shocked and I said, well, I don't really understand. Are you suggesting that my 2.5-year-old daughter could sit next to a stranger on the flight? And they said, well, yes, that could potentially happen. Should you not pre-reserve and pre-select your seat and pay the fee, there is a possibility. There's no way of us guaranteeing as a company that your child and your daughter will be seated next to you on the flight.
Now, we did reach out to Air Canada, who do point out that this Tango fare is the least expensive, and it is the only fare they offer that doesn't offer a free pre-seat selection free to those paying passengers. They go on to say that although not intentional, a consequence is that upon checking in on a Tango fare, seats are occasionally not available together. The best way for customers traveling on a Tango fare to guarantee specific seat assignment is to purchase seat selection at the time of booking for a nominal fee, which the Hartneys are aware of, and they're not so much not going to do it, but on principle they don't think that they should have to in order to sit next to their young child. The question why the airline wouldn't want them to.
Yeah, so it is complicated, but I get their position. And this is not the first time we've heard of parents in this sort of situation.
Well, that's right. In the past, we have heard of it, and actually the federal government, the transport minister, has criticized the policy, but there is no federal law in place to make sure that the airlines will guarantee this is the situation. And in fact, Air Canada is not the only airline for which this could become a problem. Matt Hartney, the father, he actually turning this around a little bit. He can't understand why it's not a policy to insist that parents do sit with their toddler. He questions how that's fair to the other paying passengers who might then otherwise have to give up their seat or spend about 4.5 hours babysitting a potentially very unhappy little girl.
And if I were to just stubbornly choose to sit by myself, if Air Canada is that what they're saying in their policy, that I actually have a choice to sit alone on the aircraft and give myself a few hour break? Who is going to look after our 2-year-old child?
Open her yogurt, open her drinks, take her to the bathroom.
So that's, I guess, really the question back to Air Canada. Is it their responsibility, or is it the other passengers seated next to her?
That's not something they're really considering doing. If it comes to it, they will pay the $40, but they think on principle they shouldn't have to.
All right, Sarah, thank you very much.